Getting into it.
Getting into it.
Getting into it.
We getting into it.
Getting into it.
I'm getting into it.
We getting into it.
Getting
Getting into it.
Getting into it.
Getting into it.
I'm getting into it.
Getting into it.
We getting into it.
We getting into it.
We back.
Taking Thursday back. One Thursday
At a time.
at a time, my brother. What's good?
All right.
Yeah, belly full?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
As soon as you get started, I'm disappearing.
Okay. Yeah, we've been coming at this hour for the last couple of weeks. I kind of like this, to be honest with you. It's a little bit more of my time that I like to go on, to be honest. Like, 9 o'clock my time. What is it, about 7? Where you at?
Yep, 7-Eleven.
Yeah, I know on the East Coast it's getting a little late, but for those of us that like music and like to mix, this about the time we get started anyway. Let's be honest.
Right.
Let's be honest. But it's the Mix Squad. It's Mix Squad TV, and we taking Thursday back, and we back with another mixing, not necessarily tutorial, but we're going to cover a lot of different things that could be helpful for you and for what you're trying to do when it comes to 2 tracks. I know 2 tracks is something that you deal with all the time if you're a mix engineer, and if you're trying to just get the best out of 2 tracks. We're going to actually go into the different techniques that I use that can be used to just get a better sound overall. So that's what we're getting into today. We also going to do a plugin review with the Waves Harmony, and I really need to tap into it and start using it. And so that's why we're going to look into it and do some reading of the manual to just get more familiar with the plugin, and hopefully you can find something useful to where you pick it up, because you probably have it and you just don't use it, because that's what it is with a lot of stuff with Waves. A lot of Wave stuff you have, or we may have with the Ultimate Bundle or whatever, and you just not using it. So let's get into it. Slane, you got something for the people?
Nope, just keep your ears and eyes open, man.
Straight up.
And we're going to get into it.
Yeah. Before we get into it, make sure you go to themixsquad.com. As you see scrolling at the bottom of the screen, get 50% off the mixes, services that we offer if you simply put in the code that's on the screen. You will also find a plethora of services on the site beside mixing, whether it's getting a video, which I'm going to actually debut a video live with the audience here. Speaking of which, go ahead and go over to YouTube TV, Mix Squad TV on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the bell, like, comment. You know what to do. If you're on Instagram, hit the like, share. Let everybody know who needs some help or is into this music or into learning how to better mix. Just share it with them. So without further ado, I'm going to actually showcase some of the services that we have by showing a video that I'm dedicating to my wife for her birthday today.
And y'all could dedicate it to your mother and get some of that mother merchandise, man. You know what I'm saying? Put it together for her. Day special is coming up.
On the site, get your merch for Mother's Day. Get your merch for just mixing. Get your Mix Squad apparel in general. You could join the squad, where we'll have some really good discounts coming up soon for those who are early birds of joining the squad, probably just for the summer, but don't tell nobody. Got to keep it a secret, because we don't want just anybody. We want you. We don't want just anybody. Mm-hmm. Right. So go to the site, themixsquad.com, where you can read about us. You can read blogs that we've written about mixing, different tips and tools. We have downloadables where you can go and downloadable some that are free. You can get our templates. It's just a plethora of information on our site with a plethora of our services. So if you are not familiar, go to themixsquad.com and take a look for yourself. So I am going to debut this video. This is considered a lyric video that if you have a song out there, maybe a Mother's Day song, it may be a song that ain't got nothing to do with mamas. It got to do with the opposite of mamas. But if you want a lyric video, take a look at what some of the work we can do with this video, and it may be something that you want to purchase in the future. Let's take a look.
Let's take a look.
It's too late. It's too late. And all I want is you. All I need is you. All I want is you. Girl, I lie. Girl, I lie. All I need is you. All I want is you. Girl, I lie. You're all I want, baby. All I need is you. All I want is you. Girl, I lie. You're all I want, baby. You stay on my mind when I'm out working. I'll dedicate my whole life, but is it worth it? When we kindle our loves, hot as a furnace. Make you my one and only, cause you deserve it, girl. I left you a message, but have you read it? I called you a couple times, you didn't get it. Our spiritual ties keep us connected. And I ain't tryna get you up, no, let it know. I give you love, care, kindness, and affection. Protecting your heart, that's my profession. I know you got a few scars, girl, who you tellin'? That's why my love isn't short, it's like progressive, yeah. All I need is you. All I want is you. Girl, I lie, you're all I want, baby. All I need is you. All I want is you. Girl, I lie, you're all I want, baby. You're the perfect chorus to my verse. Like a melody and rhyme. Flow together in time. It's no secret that I'm caught up in your love. Your lips, they draw me in. A kiss upon my skin. This is how the night began. It's been a long time coming. So what we gon' do? Too late to go back now. Cause all I want is you. All I need is you. All I want is you. Girl, I lie, you're all I want, baby. All I need is you. All I want is you. Girl, I lie, you're all I want, baby. You what I really, really, really want it. You know I get up, picky all day. You know I get joking any long way. You know I'm serious, so don't play. You know it, 10 toes down. The leader number, she got a new best friend now. Don't talk about the past, cause the future's right now. You want her back, but I'm blowing back outs now. Better yet, we bout to back out now. Take her on the street, we back out now. Girl, you VIP, that don't stop now. Just begin, spin the wind, change the name, change the game. Get my last dollar before she see a change. You all marveled and got hit with the Doctor Strange. We equals, balance in the yoke, we are the same. A long way on the runway and I in the plane. Used to be a proud player, I ain't playing, let me please you. I'm just saying, wanna be my girlfriend? I'm your man, sexy how you say my name, blazing hot, I'm a fan and we cool. All I need is you. All I want is you. Girl, I lie, you're all I want, baby. All I need is you. All I want is you. Girl, I lie, you're all I want, baby. You what I really, really, really want it. You know I get up, picky all day. You know I get joking any long way. You know I'm serious, so don't play.
Shout out to my boy Royal. Run it up. Kiana. Cash at him. That was beautiful, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's
Yeah,
nothing
man.
more than love, man.
Yeah, man. That's you know, became one of my favorites short, like very shortly.
Hmm.
After putting it together, it became one of my favorite go tos for when I'm feeling good about the love of my
Might
life.
have to
Not
walk
all the
down the
time
aisle
do
with
we
that
feel
song.
good, you know. Not all the time do I gotta make a love song. Sometimes I ain't feeling love, but
Feeling
when I do,
love.
you know, we gotta tap into as artists. You gotta tap into all the different emotions that you may go through, whether it's despair, love, sometimes actual hatred, uh, and make music of it. The same way an artist will paint. You know, you have some famous artists that paint nature. You have some that paint violence. It is art, and it's how we express ourselves. So, you know, definitely utilize all the different things you go through and turn it into song and make music of it. Don't I shouldn't say don't, but I would encourage you to expand your palette and not just always like if you like to talk about partying and kicking it and clubbing, that's cool. Like that's a part of, you know, life that you go through that you enjoy. But also, you know, you may want to tap into actually your thoughts, like deeper
Right.
into what you actually dealing with and going through, which is another avenue of therapy
Yeah, music is therapy, man.
for sure.
Hmm.
For sure, no matter what you're going through out there, man, music can heal. Uh, Without further ado, we're gonna move forward into the session for the evening.
And I'll be back after these matches. I'm about to move into a session of this plate. You heard?
I got you. All right, so I'm gonna move myself a little bit. Cool. All right, let's make this full screen and make this. Well, we ain't gonna make it full screen yet. We got Waves Harmony. So if I go to Waves, I should have been on here already. Here we go. This is what it looks like. This is Waves Harmony. So we're gonna just go into the manual and really just kind of tap into what we're dealing with. Now, one thing with a big plug-in like this, let me make this full screen and let's zoom in. Cool. Whenever we get into a plug-in that's convoluted like this, that has so many different areas, the first thing I like to do is just start with the table of contents because it'll at least direct us to where like certain areas we may want to look into, like certain pages. So if I'm into, well, I didn't mean to click on it, but if I go back up here and I'm into harmonizing using a MIDI keyboard, if that's something that I'm looking to do in this plugin, that's where I'll go. Example two is automatically generate harmonies from your vocal track. Or example three, to set up harmonies manually. So 5, 6, and 7, I'm at least gonna look into because I may want to use some harmonies using notes from a MIDI keyboard. I may want to automatically generate harmonies from the audio track of my vocals that's loaded in the Pro Tools, and I'm definitely am gonna want to set up harmonies on my own. So that's something to keep in mind. Pages 5, 6, and 7, we're gonna definitely take a look at. Under controls, I would just recommend you skim through certain things that may stick out to you that you may want to look into using for this plugin. Nothing so far for me under controls is something that I'm like dying to see generating nodes and stuff like that. It's not something that's motivating me to click on it maybe under the modulators where we get into modulation types and stuff. So page 22, 23, I may start looking in there. So let's look around page 5 under quick start. And so there are 3 basic ways to create harmonies. This quick start shows you how to make them work. These techniques will teach you most of the things you need to know to run the plugin. So it says to learn more, refer to the controls chapter later in this user guide. So example 1, harmonize using a MIDI keyboard. This is a quick and simple setup that's well suited for performances or fast and easy composition of harmonies for pre-recorded material. Connect MIDI into the plugin and play. That's it. Insert Waves Harmony on a vocal track on your DAW. Create a new MIDI track in your DAW and route it to Waves Harmony. If the Harmony virtual keyboard is mirroring your MIDI keyboard, you're good to go. If you don't know how to connect a MIDI channel to your audio plugin, or if you're having trouble, then it tells you to refer to a whole different article. So that's a whole different lesson, just setting up MIDI in general. But if you do have an understanding how to connect your MIDI, that's all you have to do with Waves Harmony, is basically set it up on your MIDI track. And if you have MIDI going into that MIDI track, which means you have notes that are being played at a certain times, it'll replicate that here on Waves Harmony. Step 3, it says play MIDI notes from your keyboard along with the vocal track in your DAW. Each played MIDI note appears on the virtual keyboard. You will hear the resulting harmony playing along with the source. So you'll hear your vocal track, and then you'll hear whatever you're playing from the MIDI as well, playing that note that could accompany your vocal. So automatically generate harmonies from your vocal track. Now, this is what I typically use it more for. I have yet to actually tap into the MIDI part of it, but now that I know that setup is pretty easy, I'm definitely going to tap into it. So the example 2 uses Waves Harmony to generate notes based on the changing pitch of your vocal track. These generated notes are then used to create harmonies. This technique is useful if you don't have a MIDI keyboard, or if you simply want to let the vocals themselves create new harmonies. So what do? You insert Waves Harmony on a track. You set the key and scale. You activate generate notes. It said notes are now being generated from the audio of the vocal track. The tolerance time sets the speed of the newly generated notes. How fast is it going to generate the new note? Based through the chords menu just below the key and scale to find browse through the chords menu to find the perfect fit for your song. Many of the suggested chords have names that are evocative rather than technical. They suggest a mood or color. Experiment with them. So that's what we're going to do shortly. And then you can set up harmonies manually, You can create complex harmonies on the main graph and control the pitch, formant, delay, feedback, and pan. So you have a full stereo field of things you can use. You can change the pitch and formant, as they mentioned, the delay, how, obviously how far in time is that harmony set back to, like maybe it's 11 milliseconds where it's not exactly on time with the lead. How much feedback, which comes with delay and feedback, kind of go together. And then where in the stereo field do you want to pan that harmony? And obviously the vocal level itself. These are fixed notes. They track the input signal directly unaffected by the harmonies derived from the MIDI notes or generated notes. Harmonies can be saved as snapshots for recall with automation or MIDI. So, again, these fixed notes that you set up manually aren't going to be affected by any of the generated notes or the MIDI notes that you've already created. So insert waves harmony on a vocal track, set key and scale to fit the song, click anywhere on the graph to add new harmonies. The marker will initially be labeled U for unison, which would be the same pitch, the same format, meaning that the created harmony is the same pitch as the source. Adjust pitch in one of three ways. Hover over the marker and use the mouse wheel, double click on the marker and enter the pitch value like on the keyboard. Use the pitch control on the harmonies panel. Drag the markers around the graph to adjust the level and panning of the note. Use the harmonies panel on the left side to adjust all attributes of a harmony. On the snapshot panel, click plus to add a new snapshot of the current harmony setup. So that snapshot, you will, let's see if I can find that. Let's see on the snapshot panel. And it did say where that was, and I don't even remember. But it was, I might see it once we actually get into the plugin. But you would use that snapshot so you could actually quickly reset up everything you already set up once you start dealing with automation and MIDI and stuff like that. All right, so yeah, so some of that we kind of know: chords, scales, key. You can lock it. So if I want to make sure that whatever preset that I select, that it doesn't change the scale or chord, or yeah, here you can make sure you can lock that. If I want a harmonic minor, then it'll lock it so it won't change no matter what I select as a preset. All right, so I think we're gonna get into it. You know, the best way is just to mess with it. So we're gonna bag out. Of the manual. And so remember, what we're gonna do eventually is just kind of highlight and show all of what you can do with a 2-track. Before we do, we definitely want to just go into what we were talking about first. So I set up my lead, and then I set up a send that says waves harmony, and I'm just gonna connect that. Waves harmony. Boom. And so let's just take a listen before we get the harmonies in. And you'll see specifically why I chose this session for the 2-track lesson, because there was some unique things that were needed to be done to get this to even have my vocals on it. So let's take a listen to this verse. Anytime now, Pro Tools.
Why you shooting at me? Why you shooting at me? Start shooting. Shooting at me, why you shooting at me? Start shooting at them, yeah, pick who your friends.
Wait, why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother, please stop. Take a second thing, pull the trigger before he blink. Take it, please, signing on the dotted line with the ink. But that's what we do though. I'm a builder, building bridges, looking for a true bro. Looking at what's nowadays, looking at a new low. Looking for it.
Anyway, we heard that for the most part. I don't know if I actually set the key, because this wasn't something that I really was doing some like auto tune on. But right now it's set to C major. I don't really know if that's the key, but we're gonna find out. So let's put this Waves Harmony on. And let's get to work. Let's see if maybe we can get it to loop a few times before Pro Tools want to not play.
Pickle your friend.
Wait, why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother, please stop. Take a second thing, pull the trigger before he blink. Take a please, signing on the dotted line with the ink. But that's what we do though. I'm a builder, bridges, looking for a true bro. Looking at was nowadays, looking at a new low. Looking forward to the future, hoping for a new glow. They shooting at us, we shooting at us. They.
All right, let me get this key correct. It's just gonna take a quick second for me to find it out. And then we're gonna get into it. Downloads. We got one more second. I didn't think about the key before I started coming up with this lesson. And that's my fault. All right, so it looks like we're getting E flat minor. Let's try that. Let's see if that's what it is. It's gonna be harder to tell on this particular track just because it's not something that's really melodic, but it's all good. So let's see, E flat minor, we're gonna lock that in, and we just gonna loop it again. Where's the verse? I'm gonna get rid of all of the effects and delays just so we can really hone in on Waves Harmony.
Pickle your friend.
Wait, why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother, please stop. Take a second thing, pull the trigger before he blink. Take a please, signing on the dotted line with the ink. But that's what we do though. I'm a builder, bridges, looking for a true bro. Looking at was nowadays, looking at a new low. Looking forward to the future, hoping for a new glow. They shooting at us, we shooting at.
And now I just want to hear what it's doing by itself. And so I'm gonna actually make this a pre-fader send. And then mute the lead so we can now truly hear just what this is doing.
Pickle your friend.
Wait, why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother, please stop. Take a second thing, pull the trigger before he blink. Take a please, signing on the dotted line with the ink. But that's what we do though. I'm a builder, bridges, looking for a true bro. Looking at was nowadays, looking at a new low. Looking forward to the future, hoping for a new glow. They shooting at us, we shooting at us. They hunting us down, we sitting ducks. We standing around like what the where's the crown? Enough is enough.
Chopping cannons down, they try to choke us again. They can't pickle your friend.
Wait, why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother, please stop. Take a second thing, pull the trigger before he blink. Take a please, signing on the dotted line with the ink. But that's what we do though. I'm a builder, bridges, looking for a true bro. Looking at was nowadays, looking at a new low. Looking.
Cool. So I was just ciphering through presets. I just simply locked the key. So every time we switch to a preset, it would just maintain. I don't know why it's changing on its own, but it would just maintain the key. I haven't messed with generate notes yet. But just to get a realistic sound, I've landed on this random preset. I do feel like now I can actually utilize this to show how I would really use this blended in. All right, so let's take that preset and let's unmute all of the things we got going on so we can hear everything in full context. And I'm just gonna simply blend in the effect.
Pickle your friend.
Wait, why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother, please stop. Take a second thing, pull the trigger before he blink. Take a please, signing on the dotted line with the ink. But that's what we do though. I'm a builder, building bridges, looking for a true bro. Looking out with nowadays, looking at a new low. Looking forward to the future, hoping for a new glow. They shooting at us, we shooting at us. They hunting us down, we sitting ducks. We standing the
Pickle your friend.
Wait, why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother. Please stop. Take a second thing, pull the trigger before he blink. Take a please, signing on the dotted line with the ink. But that's what we do though. I'm a builder, building bridges, looking for a true bro. Looking out with nowadays, looking at a new.
Cool. And so to furthermore, what I would do if I was really using this is now here in the automation section, now that I'm using this as a sin, I'm just going to find words, and I may move this up for me visually to be right where the lead is, so I can really hone in on where I want the effect to be applied. So let me just take a listen.
Shooting at them, yeah, pickle your friend.
Wait, why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother. Please stop. Take a second. Why you shoot?
So maybe starting at the word barking. Let's see.
Me on the same team, barking up the.
All right, cool. So I'll take it here. Anything before that, it'll just be muted. So
Barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother. Please stop.
And then tree would be the last word that I use the effect. Oh, hold on. Where you going? Where you going? All right, cool. And then so now I'm gonna just keep following that pattern of muting, unmuting to some degree. Now you could go through doing automation where you can literally mute and unmute just by clicking the mute button and automate. You can do it this way, or you could create a whole new audio track and not a send, where you would pull a duplicate of the lead down where this Waves Harmony is a plugin on that track. Now you would want to actually duplicate all the processing probably, so you can get the same sound that you're getting by sending a send, and then just basically adding the Waves Harmony at the end of that chain. But this is just the way we're doing it today to show you all the different ways that certain things can be done. You end up just kind of figuring out what you like to do. But whether I do it this way, do it with automation, do it with another track, it's really just, how effective you are with what method you use. So I'm gonna just kind of go through the rest of the verse and pick out phrases, and then we'll play it back.
On the same team, barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother. Please stop. Take a second thing, pull the trigger before he blink. Take a please, signing on the. Take a please, signing on.
So take a plea. We'll have it muted until then.
But that's what we do though. I'm a builder, building bridges, looking for a true bro.
So I'm gonna actually mute it until I find the next phrase I want to use.
But that's what we do though. I'm a builder, building bridges, looking for a true bro. Looking out with nowadays, looking at a new low. Looking forward to the future, hoping for a new glow.
And so let's see this last phrase. We're gonna pull it up. And maybe this first word, let's see. And now you can just grab it like that, and it should let me pull it up, but it's, Pro Tools be tripping, man. I ain't gonna lie. You would think something's supposed to work exactly how they supposed to work, and then don't. Because it's supposed to let me pull that up. But I'll just do it manually. All right, so something like that. I'm doing it quick, but it is what it is. Let's just take a listen to what we have. as just some effects.
Yeah, pick who your friend.
Wait, why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother, please stop. Take a second thing, pull the trigger before he blink. Take it, please, signing on the dotted line with the ink. But that's what we do though. I'm a builder, bridges, looking for a true bro. Looking at us nowadays, looking at a new low. Looking forward to the future, hoping for a new glow. They shooting at us.
Boom. And so, I mean, I really actually like that, to where like I might really like, after the live and stuff, really go back and fine tune what I was doing, just as an example, because it was just an example. But that's how quickly you can kind of find something you like, because it's a lot of presets. Have you probably noticed, like, you have a folder called Ensemble, which has, like, they mention things that you're not gonna really be, they're not really technical preset names, more so as they mention giving you a feel, and you just really gotta, because I don't really know what all the broad means. I gotta click on it and hear what it's doing, right? Auto harmony, you have a list of all of that. Doubler, you have a list. FX, a list. And then artists have a list of artists who have a list of presets. So I could spend the rest of the live going through all of the countless amount of things you could try. But I stumbled across something that sounded interesting, and then I blended it in, and that's how quickly, like, ear candy and effects can be created. So let's just end this on selecting generate notes, and let's pick a different preset this time. I'm gonna go to, I saw something that said artists, and then something that said gentle something, or EDM, one of them. It's EDM lead vocal doubler. Let's try that, and let's generate notes. I'm gonna take this off for now. And let's see. Gonna pre-fader and mute. All right, let's go.
Them, yeah, pick who your friend.
Wait, are you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother, please stop. Second thing, pull the trigger before he blink. Take it, please, signing on the dotted line with the ink.
Them, yeah, pick who your friend.
Wait, why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother, please stop. Take a second thing, pull the trigger before he blink. Take it, please, signing on the dotted line with the ink.
Them, yeah, pick who your friend.
Wait, why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother, please stop. Take a second thing, pull the trigger before he blink. Take it, please, signing on the dotted line with the ink.
Them, yeah, pick who your friend.
Wait, why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother, please stop. Take a second thing, pull the trigger before he blink. Take it, please, signing on the dotted line with the ink.
Them, yeah, pick who your friend.
Wait, why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree, brother, please stop. Take a second thing, pull the trigger before he blink. Take it, please.
Cool. So I'm not gonna belabor the point. Some of the things I did want to point out about what I see in here, other than just selecting presets. This is the snapshot area where you could save your settings. If I like that one, and then say I go to ensemble and I like that one, now you have these snapshots that you can use later, and then you can put them in the trash. You also have your note correction. You can have it correction off, where it won't be like correcting like auto tune correction. And so this is a threshold one. And then you can have it natural. You can have a hard, where it's very, very fast. Or notes, which I would have to look into the manual, where I would have to find out what that even means as far as how it corrects based on the notes. And then the volume of the harmonies. And then on the left side here, we have the notes. You can solo out the notes. You have the pitch. And this button says correct all notes to the musical scale. So it is going to correct all the notes to be in key with E flat minor if you have it selected. And then your format, how fine you want the format, your delays, your feedback, your high pass filter, it looks like panning. Yeah. The volume level or the gain of your notes, which is different than the gain of your overall harmonies. Like this is the collective, I guess. And this is the, each note. Because I can go to each one. So that's just notes in general. But then if I go to this one here, or let's see this one here, I can now affect the delay, feedback, filter, pan, and level. All the same features on each individual note that you create. And I can create more by just clicking on the stereo field. Right clicking will delete them. And then I can just create more notes. Waves harmony. So if it's just sitting there collecting dust, I've been wanting to get to using it more. I have been stuck on Vocal Bender because I got used to using it. Very convenient for me. And that's just what I got accustomed to using. But I do see that I need to venture off and just kind of use Waves Harmony, man, because it actually is something
Just
that I
about
can
to say
find
that
myself.
it's like a vocal bender, but yeah, I'm gonna start using that too. I see it got a lot of audio manipulating I can do with that. That shit
Lots
dope.
of manipulate.
I was like,
One thing
God dang.
Vocal Bender doesn't do is take the MIDI information and
Right.
do all that.
Right.
So if you want to do the talk box sound and stuff like that, perfect for that. All right, so let's get into what we're getting into tonight, which is dealing with 2 tracks. And I just brought in the original 2-track of like what y'all hearing. This was a song that was already made without me on it. Fully made, full track. And the only thing I had to work with is the 2-track and maybe like I had the original 2-track and I had the song that they made. And so the idea was to get me on it, but how could we do so with everything already on the song? So like if I I didn't mean to cut me off, but let me solo safe myself. All right, so if I solo this and get to where I'm rapping, you'll notice I'm not rapping.
Me, start shooting at them. Yeah, pick with your friends. Why you shooting at me? Why you shooting at me? Start shooting at them. Yeah, pick with your friends. Why you shooting at me? Why you shooting at me? Start shooting at them.
Hold on. That's because I don't have this routed correctly. All right, we should hear it this time.
Why you shooting at me? Start shooting at them. Yeah, pick with your friends. We in chopper cannons now, they trying to choke us again. They Congress going bananas now, they trying to befriend us again. Life's a gamble, do some.
Now, if I play the song that I have created, you'll hear that same part at the end of my verse.
Like what? Like where's the crime? Enough is enough.
Chopper cannons now, they trying to choke us again. They Congress.
Cool. So this is all done with a 2-track. They've already laid down. This is what I had to work with. This beat original is what I had to work with. And again, like I say, the actual beat without them on it, but the song was already created and I needed to be in the middle. So I took out this portion of the beat and I rapped on it, but I needed to fit it into this song. So one key thing is getting your grid together. And so making sure that whatever you have as the BPM, which was 104, is true to the song. Because in order to manipulate a 2-track, having your BPMs, if it's just a beat, one beat off, it's going to mess it up. It's just not going to fit. Things should fit perfectly when you dissecting the beat of, like if you're taking a bar or 2 bars, the loops should stay perfect. So that was one thing, right? And so that's all I did was now find a section where I could separate their performance, because they're going in and out, back and forth with each other. And I just had to find a part where it made sense for me to come in and then have the performer come back in as if I'm supposed to be on that song. And so that's what we heard there. But that's not usually the situation with 2 tracks, right? Usually it's just, I'm just trying to get this 2-track to sound like I had the stems. I'm trying to fit the vocals into the right spot. I'm just trying to make it work, and I'm having some difficulty. So one of the first things we can do, and it's not like the very first thing I reach for, but it is something that can be done, is go to whatever you may have access to. For me, it would be BandLab, that you could actually create new stems with. So here, under beat stems, this is me taking that 2-track, running it through a stem separator, and then it'll give me, let me mute everything else, mix, bus, mute. And we should hear this. And so this technically separated what I ultimately called the 808, which I don't hear nothing. Oh, there we go. And then drums. So these 3 stems I could technically use as my beat, and I can now mix those 3 things together. The only thing to watch for is it can be phasey at times. You just have to really listen to what was extracted to be certain that you could use it and move forward without it sounding weaker or thinner, or like there's a weird phase issue that's happening. But let's say you wanted to have more detail in beat drops, where yes, I could use the 2-track and just drop the beat. I could use the 2-track and just lo-fi the beat. But what if I wanted the 808 to just thump, but have a bar where the drums come out? It's not going to be able to do that with the 2-track. So this is a way in which you can now begin remixing with your vocals, and basically 3 stems for this particular beat. It took about 3 stems to create the beat, right? And then these are the actual vocals that were there.
City up the sleeve, blueprint better be there. Be Max shit before the.
Quit shooting at me! You see they shooting at us!
Cool. So now you have everything that came with the 2-track, the vocals, some harmonic stuff that's going on with, or I would say ambient stuff that's going on with this one. Right. So now you have another way where now you don't really have a 2-track. But I mean, it's like having a 2-track. You just have more control. But again, this is something, it's not my first reach, but it is something that I have done and will continue to do depending on the beat. So let's see what I ultimately did, and then I'm gonna do some tricks. So this one, what I'm gonna do is just duplicate it. Actually, yeah, let's duplicate it 3 times. Okay. We only need 1 track spacer, which I'm gonna show a trick before we even get to what I created these for. So before I get to what I created these for, this is another way, and I'm gonna show like several ways that you could achieve what I'm doing with track spacer. So with track spacer, I have a side chain. I have my vocals coming out here, routed through a dummy bus in Pro Tools called Bus 19. I'm only using Bus 19 as a trigger to this plugin. So you see it has the key is Bus 19. So what you'll see happening in reduction to the beat is going to be triggered by my vocals. Track spacer, you'll see here has a low cut that I have set at around 300 and a high cut at around 9K. And I only have the ratio below 5% for this particular song. We'll see what it does if I really crank it up. But this is actually allowing me, and I'll show it in a different way outside of using track spacer just so you can get the full concept, that when my vocals are dominant and present in between 3K or 300 and 9K, the beat is going to be reduced. Let's take a look. Let me get to the part where my vocals are. There we go. I gotta take the mix bus back on.
Stop, take a second thing, pull the trigger before he blink. Takin, please, signing on the dotted line with the ink. But that's what we do though. I'm a builder, building bridges, looking for a true bro. Looking hours nowadays.
Now I'm gonna crank up the amount that it affects, and you'll see that it becomes almost like a voiceover.
Why you shooting at me on the same team, barking up the wrong fucking tree? Brother, please stop, take a second thing, pull the trigger, keep blink. Takin, please, signing on the dotted line with the ink. But that's what we do though. I'm a builder, building bridges, looking for a true bro.
So in this case, I felt like under 5% was good because I didn't really feel how I processed my vocals, that my vocals was competing too much with the beat. But I did feel like just in case it'll reduce it some, just so it can sit slightly above it. The other ways that I mentioned, I'm gonna actually take off or bypass track spacer. I'll grab the F6. Which is the EQ by ways. I'm just gonna grab a few different tools so you can get the concept that you don't have to have any particular plugin. You just gotta know what we're trying to accomplish. So the key input, which was 19, you go back to that same key because that's the trigger. That's gonna trigger what we're trying to do. And in this case, I'm gonna take a band, and then I'm gonna put it kind of in the middle between the 3K and 9K, which we'll say in this case is about 1800. I don't even know if that's really what it is, but that's what we're gonna do. Okay, here we go. Boom. Number 5. And so we're gonna actually keep it stereo for now, but generally I actually change it to mid. But for simplicity, we're gonna keep it on the stereo for now. And now we're going to, for the F6, you always have to figure out on whatever plugin you're using, how to trigger the side chain function. In F6 is here. Side chain or SC source is going to be external. Internal would mean this. So if I take this and then the range is going to be how far down or up the audio will go once it's triggered, right? In this case, we're going to pull it down all the way just for an example. And then we're going to have the threshold. We need to play it so we can see where it's going to trigger it.
Why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree. Brother, please stop. Take a second thing. Pull the trigger before he blink.
So in this case, if I solo what we're soloing out.
Why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking.
That's the area of the beat. Let me widen that out, actually, to widen the cue out. Cool.
Why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree. Brother, please stop. Take a second thing.
So that part of the beat is what we're focusing in on in this particular region. But with the internal selected, it's triggering the threshold based off of what's going on with the beat. And that's not what we want to tame that area. We want our vocals to tame that area. So we select the external, which is now going to be whatever the key indicator is, which is the bus 19. So our vocal, which is sent to bus 19, is now the trigger for the compressor. So in this case, now that it's on external, the threshold is going to be different because the vocal is different than the beat.
Why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree. Brother, please stop. Take a second thing. Pull the trigger before he blink. Take him, please. Signing on the dotted line with the ink.
And you can kind of tell based on how it's moving as far as how it's being reduced by the threshold, that's the vocal that's triggering, because it's kind of dancing with the vocal. Just take a look.
Why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree. Brother, please stop. Take a second thing. Pull the trigger before he blink. Take him, please. Signing on the dotted line with the ink. But that's what we do though. I'm a builder, building bridges, looking for a true bro.
Cool. And so the reason why I say I normally would go to mid and do this if I'm using F6 is simply because the mid, straight up the middle, the mono signal is what I want my vocal to really be present, like dominate that area of the song, compared to the sides of the stereo field where you want other elements to kind of be the star of those areas. So I would set this to mid to reduce the mid signal of the beat while my vocals was coming through. So that's using F6. A lot of us have Pro Q series. Same exact concept. You just got to understand how to use it on whatever plugin you're using. So we're going to put it in around the same area. In this plugin, you have to be sure that you make it dynamic. And then you have to hit this button to trigger the sidechain. So it's just really figuring out on which plugin you use, if it has a sidechain option, and if it does, how to trigger it. And so similar, I would put it in mid.
Why you shooting at me on the same team? Barking up the wrong fucking tree. Brother, please stop. Take a second thing. Pull the trigger before he blink. Take him, please. Signing on the dotted line with the ink. But that's what we do though. I'm a builder, building bridges, looking for a true bro.
So that's carving out space in that way. So not always are the issues that we have with having two tracks is carving out space. Sometimes it's not like, oh, I need to make space. It's I want to make the beat better. And that's why we duplicate it. And so let's go back to what we were doing there. We're gonna mute our mix bus. Oh no, we're not gonna mute the mix bus. Let's unmute some of these. So what I'm gonna do is actually group these or send these to a folder real quick for my sake. Call it a new beat. Cool. So first things first, the original beat, in this case, I'm really going to just kind of mute and not deal with yet. Not really. Right now, I'm just going to set up my duplicate. So my first duplicate, we're going to call this lows. Second duplicate, we're going to call this mids. And last duplicate, highs. And then we're going to take an EQ on our lows. And I'm going to play it while I go through this process. Probably into the song, yeah.
Why you shooting at me? Why you shooting at me? Start shooting.
Now, the problem is I shouldn't do this with this because this has vocals in it. So let me backtrack a little. Just a little. Get this original beat and let's work with that. So I need to make one more. I don't want to get rid of the original beat that I have for real, which is here. I'm just going to move him out of that group. Cool. And now delete these. We can work with this original beat. Do I have anything else? No, okay. We'll just use the original beat. And yeah, this works. All right, so I'm gonna duplicate these. We already have the low, mids, and everything set up. Make sure that this is all we hearing.
Why you shooting at me? Why you shooting at?
I shouldn't hear words.
Why you shooting at me? Why you shooting at me? Start shooting at them. Yeah.
For some reason, I thought I had the actual beat, like the without any vocals in it.
Why you shooting at me? Why?
So that's not gonna work with it. Let me see if I actually got the beat in here. Or did I just pull? The completed song. Come on. Okay. So yeah, we just gonna move forward as if the vocals aren't in there, but it's a little awkward, to be honest with you. I mean, I do have the stems, but that kind of, it's not the same. But I got an idea. All right, so let's use the stems, mute the vocals. And then I'm gonna I'm gonna route the stems together, and that's gonna be what we duplicate. So this is new beat 2. All right, so technically this new beat, this green one here, is the 3 elements that make the beat. And so we're gonna create some sends. I'm just gonna create them up here. And so in this case, we're gonna make 3 stereo sends. And this is a part of the process, like troubleshooting, figuring out how to get certain things done when you run into whatever issues or hurdles you have. So now we got low, mid, high. And I'm gonna just color them differently. Okay. So this is our beat now. And let me play it, be sure we good to go now. Cool. Everything else is muted. We got our beat. So now we're gonna add we need the low. Oh God. That noise. If anybody ever heard that noise on Pro Tools, it is a headache. That beeping noise, sometimes it just get embedded in the audio. I know how to fix it, but it's a headache. And I just heard it, which means it's baked in. But we're going to try to avoid that section so we don't keep hearing that beep. All right, so I have my lows, my mids, my highs created as sends now, but it does the same thing whether you duplicate audio tracks or you create sends from one stereo file. It's doing the same thing. All right, so let me see. Hopefully we don't get the little beeping over here. All right, so I'm gonna let it play. I'm going to kind of do my thing. Make these pre-fades for now. And mute the original. And we're going to work on our low as we go. We should, oh, did I not? Yeah, we should hear that. Why aren't we hearing that? Maybe because of this. Right, I need to be able to mute that though. All right, so I'm just gonna do it this way. we can still hear it. I'm gonna grab an EQ. Come on, Pro Tools. They don't like me going live. I'm not getting no action. Cause I got it sent to the wrong one. That's why. That's my bad. That's my bad. We should be good to go now. I should be able to mute it now. Cool. So I go with like true lows. Not too sharp of a cutoff because of the whole phase issue stuff. About there. I'm trying to close out of. Come on, let me close. This my shit over here in overdrive. So I would just set the EQs first. We got our lows. About 5K. Probably around 300 or so. So we now have our mids. And we're going to have our highs. All right, let's deal with some lows. I'm gonna give it a little knock. Stupid beat. Man, Pro Tools over here working hard. I'm gonna have to wrap it up. Come on now. I thought I had the spinning wheel earlier and then it came back like just like that. All right, let me add some punch. Oh God, where we go with that beeping? I'm gonna move pretty quick because I ain't going for that shit. What's that, low air? Just added a little punch and then a little just low end harmonics. Could y'all hear that? I hope not. I hope
Yes,
not.
indeed.
Oh God. Like Jesus. Anyway, we're gonna have to get through this, man. Pro Tools tripping. Um, when I say y'all hit it, it's like that, like the error noise.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was hoping that I was hoping y'all ain't get a chance to have that shit fuck your ears up.
I put in a private chat, bro.
What you want me to do, man? Call your boy at Avid. All right,
Well,
so that was the low end harmonics. We gonna go straight to the mids. Take a listen what we got. Hopefully, it ain't doing all that again, man. Let me deactivate most of the rest of this. We don't need none of the rest of this no more. And that should probably help the processing that is going on. Cause I'm on Pro Tools, I'm live streaming to several different platforms. Pro Tools is not happy. All right, let's go. So the mid, you still getting some residue at the low end for the most part. There's not a lot going on in the mids. I'm gonna kind of blend it in with the rest of everything. Generally, I'm gonna pull down the beat about 6 dB just so I can have some room. Oh, not the lows, just the beat itself. Let me bring the full beat back. And then the lows. And then that freaking beat. So the beep happened like right there. So let me. Okay, so obviously my low is a little hot, but it sounds good though. And one thing about blending it in, I want to blend in the lows to where you can, because I'm in the headphones, I'm not in the studio monitors, so my blend will be different if I was listening to the monitors. But especially if I got my sub on, I really want to blend it in to where I'm just getting that extra fatness and weight of the sub, but not necessarily increasing the volume of the whole thing. So it's just blending it to where you're not really increasing that volume, but you're still getting that weight. I guess the best way to see what I'm doing is to have these all go to a bus of its own so I can see what it's doing. So new beat bus. So I'm gonna have that be right there. Outside. There we go. Cool. So I can see here, this is that beat. I can kind of see where we hitting at as far as the total loudness of it. I want to say this one was around -6, like before I actually, maybe like the peak at -3. I can't really say for sure, to be honest with you, but this is just what I'm doing in general when I'm duplicating all of these 2 tracks. Is I'm gonna route them to one place so I can see the overall volume is, because individually you're not able to tell if I'm having all of these sends and stuff, they're all meeting at the output, and you're not getting a real visualization unless you have them routed to the mix bus. You're not getting a real visual representation of your peaks. So that's just with the original and the extra low end. That's just the original. And I want to kind of get it up there a little bit. Maybe bring up the original a little bit. Because I know the low end is going to set the tone. So I'm just getting that right first. Cool. And then we bring in the mids. Solo the mids. And really for the mids on this one, I ain't really doing a whole lot. I don't think I want to do a whole lot other than saturate. I like the warm tape actually. And I want more of that mids to come through, so I'm gonna reduce what's going on in the low end. Reduce whatever we got going on in the high end. And really focus on this area. And bring our highs. And with the highs, I know those of y'all who know me know I love this plugin. I forgot what it's called. Prior motion. So that's just the high end. And I got a preset on here that I like for hats. A hat shifter. Reduce the mix a little bit. Kind of rotate the hats around you just a little bit. Well, let's blend it all back in. So that's the original beat we got. And just a quick little, just throw something together. I'll pull that down about a little under 4 dB and then apply these. One more time. That's the 2-track we got. Applying a little duplication, some processing. And then once you've done that, you can also then apply the track spacer technique or using side chaining to carve out space for your track. Even after you do that, the last thing I'll say you could do real quick on the beat, something like a multi-band. You could use what we just used. This one is not triggered by anything out external though. However, just something that is used often by engineers as well is just going to something like a multi-band, anything from about 10K down through 1800, 2K. They'll take this band and they will apply some reduction. So this is the mid, so this one, and so they would play it. These will be off. Probably use a slower attack. Now, where you range, where you want to reduce the beat is going to be dependent on the vocal and the beat. Sometimes there's a lot of instrumentation going on in that area. This beat is very limited on the space to live in the mid range. So the vocal is the only thing really in the mid range on this beat. It's not much. It's mostly low end and high end to this particular beat. So that's why even you saw that I only applied less than 5% of the reduction because there wasn't much competing. So that's why it's good to just kind of like take it case by case, mix by mix, source material by source material, but just know and understand that these are the things that you could do, could use if need. You know exactly what to go to do it. So that's only, that's actually going to be pretty much covers 2 tracks. Like it's not a whole lot. Like if you wanted to get real meticulous, I'll just add one more and then you can kind of get the idea that you can add more on top of that. But like say I wanted to do sides. You could do that as well, where now, let me route this correctly, new beat. And so now if I mute everything except the sides, and say, I just want to make this into side only information. This is a free plugin. MSAID Moxingo has a lot of like a bundle of free stuff. I would reduce the gain of the mid all the way down, and now I've reduced everything to basically sides only. And so this is what this would sound like. So you could do something like this if you wanted to, where now I can take a saturator of any kind. Let's use Abbey Roads. Sometimes even, you know what, let me use something else that got like delays and stuff. Not delays, but reverb. CLA. Let's do Epic. And we're gonna go to widen. Let's see. And then we're gonna take something like MV2 and just compress it. And then now you can blend this size signal back into the original. I would probably even widen it slightly more. And even in my headphones, I can hear the depth once I unmute and mute it. So now let's add everything. that's how ultimately you end up with a much more professional sounding beat. If you're not liking what the beat is, kind of how it is as a 2-track, you can find ways to enhance. The low end didn't have to be at this cutoff. It could have been a bail. I mean, you could have cut it off just to make your low end. But say you only really wanted to focus on the sub, you can do what you want. You know, you can go in here and then really just decide, I want to boost just a certain frequency of the sub or the kick or the bass on your low end send. And then that's what you decided to do. You wanted to enhance that particular frequency. It's just really like I did a quick little fix, but you can really get surgical on depending on what you're trying to accomplish. But you see just a quick fix, how much more depth, how much more full, how much more exciting the beat got by taking duplicates and then applying what you feel like is lacking or missing and blending it in, and just don't limit yourself. You see, I used the saturator, I used some low end harmonics, I used the Briar motion for the high end, which is creating this movement effect with the hi-hats. Get creative, duplicate, and really hone in like parts of the music that you feel like is lacking in the 2-track, and ultimately you'll have a better sounding beat. So for that being said, I'm going to unshare the screen. I'm going to bring my co-owners back on the stage. We're going to chop it up for a little bit about what we learned tonight. And now I can actually change my audio to where I don't hear myself. But okay, now I'm good to go. Let me bring y'all back in. I'm little right now. Let me bring y'all back. Let me bring y'all back. What's up, squad?
I really like what you did with the low end. Like that's something I don't do. Like I don't really multi beats when I'm dealing with 2 tracks. I process them a lot differently, but I did appreciate what you did with that low end and got it to be real thumpy.
Yeah, low air is an underrated plugin, which is Waves again, by the way. Not that I'm like promoting Waves or anything. I just know that a lot of us who do have smaller studios and whatnot, like that's kind of one of the go-to bundles to get, because it will put you in the right track of having the tools necessary. But low air, the sub harmonic mastering preset, you know, all I do is adjust the output of it because it do come in hot as hell. But outside of that, it is set at a setting that really add some really good low end harmonics to any low end. And all I do is just like play with my blend as far as how I want it to ultimately sound in the subwoofers. But I love that plugin.
You like that better than R-Bass?
Yeah, me personally, but like I still find so low air I like to use to do sub harmonic stuff, like to do harmonics to the sub. R-Bass, I know it say it do the same thing. I think it, though it just adds harmonics, it's something that I would prefer to use, like Mighty be mentioning, like he'll use it on his masters to kind of get a master right. Not that I wouldn't use low air on the masters. I just feel like that I would rather use low air when I have like a kick, or when I have a 808, or when I have just the low end that I'm working with. I would go to low air. If I'm dealing with like an entire track, I'm not gonna risk low air, because like R-Bass is known to where you could put it on the whole track, a full mixed track, and then it won't really mess up the sound of it outside of the low end. On low air, I have no idea if it's gonna start changing the harmonic shape and sound of the entire track.
Yeah, I like the center plug-in also. That's one of my
Center,
go-to.
I could have used center for the sides when I had used MSED. I could have went to center and turned the centers all the way to the negatives to create side only. That's what I could have did with that one side scene that I created. But that's why it's good to just kind of know the principle of what I'm doing. And then if you got like if you don't have him said, if you understand mid side and understand that there's plugins that can mute the mid or mute the side or change the volume relationship to mids and side, go reach for whatever you have. You know what I mean? Like it's not a use the plugin. Like I really don't want people to watch this stuff and try to go get or buy or use the plugins I'm using just because you liked how it sounded. I want y'all to get what the technique was or what I was applying, because I literally could use any of the plugins I have as long as it's accomplishing the same task. Like I'm not plug-in specific when it come down to certain stuff. Like if it most of this shit can get the job done.
I think that's something we probably need to do probably next time is do stock plug-in only. Because I know a lot of the times people see what other engineers are using and that makes them want to go get what they got. So they can try to get that. But excuse me, you can get a really good sound using Pro Tools Avid plugins if you know the techniques. It might take you a couple of more plugins than probably if you was going for a Waves plugin or whatever, but you can still get a pretty good sound from stock plugins.
For sure. Yeah, I mean,
this I know.
I will say for sure, because that's how you learn. It's dealing with stock only. And I wish I actually would have took that approach. I took the approach of what you shouldn't do. Like I went and grabbed every plugin under the sun and was still trying to figure out why my sound wasn't sounding the way that I wanted it to, not understanding that I really needed to hone in on why I was using the things I was using and not just because someone got the God particle, get the God particle because it's gonna make your master sound. But if your mix ain't coming into the God particle, because I think this had the God particle on it, which I think it was getting like a few dB of gain reduction. But if you send in a awful mix into the God particle be just gonna make that awful mix louder.
Right. It's not gonna fix the bad mix for sure.
Not gonna fix the bad mix. And so I know that's for those of y'all are out there that are like me who understand what I'm saying, but still just like don't really want to take the time to take heed to these things. Cause I heard people say the same things to me, or not to me, but like through the internet, like don't buy all these plugins, get to understand this stuff. And like, I got you, like, but like, no, let me see. Cause if I get it, I bet you my sound gonna sound different. And like I was hard-headed. Like I had to really have all the plugins before I realized I didn't know what I was doing. And if you think about it over the course of time, like you talking about thousands of dollars. If you buy some of these high-end stuff like Fab Filter stuff, man, like you get a Fab Filter, like the bundle, you spending $1,500. Because they limited like 150 something, the EQ 150 something, the saturated 150 something, like, and it's about 15 of them. So you can real quickly get to spending a lot more money than you. Like I think I spent more money on plugins than my setup.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have put half the money into my room treatment, I wouldn't have to have 2 gates on my on my bike tonight, so y'all don't hear the room noise.
So get caught up in the luxury of having those things, and sometimes just being able to say you got it, even if you don't know how to use it yet. Oh yeah, I got that. So
right. And I'm not into that. Like, I'm into utilize. Like, there's some stuff that I currently use because I got it. Like, I wouldn't use it if I ain't have it, but I'd use it because I have it. Like, I hate saying the name, but the Arouser, which is the Empirical Labs version of the Distressor, it's $159 compressor. And like, it was always stated how cold the Distressor was, and how, like, I know that sound, the Distressor. I put that on vocals, the Distressor. I kept hearing it over and over, and I didn't have UAD, and so I found something very close to it. And every time I do like an update and stuff like that, or Empirical Labs makes me reconfirm the plugin, like, at that moment is when I'm like, oh yeah, I have that compressor, because I don't use it, but I force myself to use it because I spent $150 on it. So I'm gonna get the use out of it, because, like, $150, man. Like, there's some compressors that I'll be using from Waves that I use consistently that was like $29.99. And they get the job done. Like, ain't nobody,
Right.
like, I have yet to have anybody come to me and be like, you use that R compressor on that. I could tell because I don't like the way the R compressor sound. No one says that. Or RVox. Everybody said they used the RVox. I mean, Jason Joshua swear on the RVox. And he, one of the top dogs. And so, again, RVox is like $30. So, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. You live and you learn. I had to learn the way I had to learn. Hopefully you don't, those of y'all are out there don't have to learn by spending that type of money. Hopefully you could just hear me out and be like, yeah, I believe you. Instead of actually going and being like, like me, and was like, but I think a part of me was, I had to see. Like, I just had to see if I applied this and did it the way they said it, if I could get what sound I was looking for. And most of the time it wasn't even the mix. Most of the time it was the recording, because that's where it starts, and that's where we really have to bring it back. If we really want to bring it to basics, I know as engineers we can't control what we get. Like, if you strictly an engineer and you're not an artist, you're not controlling the material you get. But if you are an artist like myself, like we all are here at the Mix Squad, it starts at the level of your recording, and that starts with us recording ourselves. If, like, once I got better at laying down my stuff at a mixable level, and where I really just organize my recording session portion, it really helped my mixing, because I had far less of the tedious, boring editing. I'm gonna refrain from saying boring, because I know that slang be, he liked that stuff, but but the editorial work at the beginning, you really save a lot of time by just having a clean recording.
And let's say that again, because I think a lot of the artists feel like it's our job to fix all of those mistakes that they make in the recording process. And then, when you get a mix that might not be of the quality, of the best quality, because we're going to give you the best we can do with what you give us.
Right.
But it could be better had you done a little bit more in the recording process. And I think that's something that artists need to understand as well. Like, you can't send it to the engineer wanting him to fix everything. You got to take some of the onus yourself on what the final product is going to be. And it really starts with the artist.
No, for sure. And I know that firsthand just from mixing my own stuff over the years, on just like, I think we all kind of went through it recently, where you go back and you like, oh,
yes,
like what was I doing on this recording? And it's growth. Like, don't take it as, like, for those of us who don't have certain means, like, I may have a luxury, like a luxury setup to some people. Like, some people, like, bro, you got a $400 microphone, you got an interface, you got monitors, you got a subwoofer, you got Pro Tools and a bunch of plugins. Like, you got way more than I do, Like you know, but to some engineers, like I ain't got no outboard gear. I don't have no summon mixers. I don't like so like there's levels to all of this stuff. And when we go back and I listen to my stuff, for those of y'all are out there, like you're gonna do the same. Don't take it as something where like you get like take it for what it is. That's what you knew at that time. But examine the growth. So when I re-listen to some of my old mixes, it is cringy to me because like, I could have did so much better. But sometimes you got to stop and appreciate where you've come from, because if you're able to look back at those recordings and scoff at them, that means that you've learned so much more and are able to do so much more that it makes you, it's similar to anything that you grow with. And you look at the first time you did anything and you like, oh man, the first time, I was learning the jump shot, like I barely could reach the rim because like the coach was telling me like, no, you got to shoot it like this. And however I was shooting it, from the side or whatever was not how he wanted me to. And I couldn't do it the way he wanted me to.
Shoot how you comfortable with, man.
Yeah, that's what you say. You know what I'm saying? Like
you ain't some of the weirdest shots.
Me and Slang ain't gonna never coach on the same team, man. I'm about them fundamentals, Jack. Like, don't be coming in here with no mellow ball shit. I ain't.
My partner used to hit like this. Rest in peace. He used to, boy.
I know, and I know because I have different arm angles and stuff that I could make a shot, but fundamentally, if I'm wide open, you should shoot a certain way, because the only reason, and I know we getting into the weeds, but the only reason at the end of the day, it's about what is it about with our music, Slang? What is the one of the key with our music? What is one of the key things we want to accomplish? Repeatability.
Excellence.
Repeatability. That is one of the things. That's what you want to accomplish. You want to be able to accomplish with somebody play your shit and then end and be like, I want to play it again.
Oh, you right?
Repeatability. When it comes to a jump shot, generally speaking, we all like see in the NBA, there's different type of jump shots. But generally speaking, for most people, you get the best repeatability out of shooting with certain fundamentals. In other words, I could teach somebody how to shoot and he gonna knock that J down consistently, compared to if you do have weird motions, your consistency is going to eventually.
I didn't say that was my shot. I shoot like this.
No, not you. Your boy who said rest in peace. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that. Yeah, all form, baby.
And that's the form that they teach because it's repeatable.
Because it's repeatable, right?
Right. They're not shooting at these weird arm angles because more than likely it's not going to give you the maximum result you're looking for.
And that's the key, is that it's similar to what we kind of correlate with the mixes. Like you may be able to you may be really good at the corkscrew shot, but at the same time, when we get it to fine tune your mix, when we get your mix to try to we are able to pinpoint things that you may not have noticed that are wrong in your jump shot, because we got to mix it. A lot of times artists aren't listening to it the way we are. Once we get the material, there's a lot of things that we hear, and I do it to myself. I may send some stuff to y'all and it just be like, yo, why was the fan in the background? Like, I didn't even notice, because I was in artist mode. I was in the mode of creating the song, and I didn't have my engineer hat on. I wasn't listening for all of these nuances in the background, or you hear my baby done cried and the microphone done picked it up. I ain't catch all that because my mind was elsewhere. So it's just a tip for artists. Not saying that like she said, we're gonna do the best we can with the material you give us. But if you want to make your stuff the best it could be, put more time into your recording. Even if you're recording from your iPhone, that I'm not saying invest more money, because that could be the case too. You may need to go and get a better mic, but you could literally get a USB mic, plug it into your iPhone, go to voice memo, put headphones on, play your song, and record. What I'm saying as far as the recording is, it's not even necessarily what you recorded on per se. It is the environment. What's going on around you? Is there stuff like, do I got to extract the train out of the background? Do I need to, like, did you smack the mic? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of different things. Like, if you happen to shake the mic or move the mic while you're rapping, like, now there's this weird sound in the word that you're saying that I can't do nothing about. And so to create, not creating extra work is all we talking about when applying yourself to try to get the best sound that you could possibly get. And so, like, I'm all for using technology. Go to BandLab, go to your phone, record on it, and send it to us. We'll mix it.
Absolutely.
We will mix the hell out of that shit. I ain't gonna front. But just be mindful of what you picking up. Listen back to it without the music to hear all of what is actually in the recording. So, but
Yeah. And sometimes, because I know a lot of times the artist is expecting the engineer to work a miracle in certain cases, and just want to let a lot of the artists out there know that sometimes there's things that is going to be in your recording that we can't take out. So just know that as well. If you're not recording in the optimal, setting, give your engineer a little bit of slack. If you got a good one, because we're going to do the best we can. But, it's just certain things that might be baked in that we can't do anything about.
It don't be so unwilling to just re-record something, especially at the level we at. You know what I'm saying? Like, as artists, and as, because generally the artists that that we come across, generally speaking, are part of labels, aren't big time, aren't famous, and so just go and re-record it, man. Like, it was on the iPhone. Just re-record the line. It ain't that, it shouldn't be to where you don't put this type of work and paying what you paying to get something professionally mixed, for you to have something as easy as like a few words that something was glitchy on, or had a mic pop on that's hard to remove, that's really just like baked in. When you could just say it, when you could just redo the take and just send us send us the audio file of that couple words. Like, it ain't, we want to, sometimes it's just up to you to just kind of get certain things done so we can do what you really want us to do, which is have the very best product. So I don't want to pit us against each other, because I'm an artist. We all artists on this panel. Like, we understand truly being in an artist mode, overlooking certain things. It ain't even like about, sometimes you get stuff that simply, I got to let you know, like, hey, this is in here. And a person just simply go back and re-record a certain area, and it's usually not an issue. But, just be more mindful that it is a partnership, that we're trying to create. We're trying to craft something together that you created. And so we should be working together and not like fighting up a hill, to where all you have to do is simply just go record something that would take you like 15 seconds, but you just don't feel like it, and you paid your money, when it's like we should be working together to accomplish the same goal.
Absolutely. I'm just pointing out some things that I dealt with personally. Because as I crack open my old sessions, I'm like, man, I hate that I sent this to somebody to mix. It sounds so bad. So, now that I got the engineer ears, it's like, man, I know they was mad at me.
Yeah, or that, or like we are. Sometimes we just be just happy to mix.
Right. I know some like mic placement is my biggest issue because my voice is so light. So I sit a little bit closer to the mic and then you get way more mouth clicks and pops than probably
Right.
necessary. So, just trying to find that happy medium, but dealing with that, even with my own stuff, mixing my own lyrics, I'm like, man, I'm sad I gave that to somebody.
Yeah, gates are my friend. I know people who never use them, and I'm like, I've never not used them because of my room and like the untreated environment and stuff like that. I got to use these tools that are available for us to use, and to artificially create a mute noise floor does wonders to someone who has a noisy room.
Right.
Yeah, for that mic thing, have a pop filter, and that could measure your distance from the mic so you won't hit that.
I do. I have a pop filter and all of that. Like I'm a fist distance away from my mic. It's just I think my gain probably turned up loud because my voice is so light, and trying to make sure that I don't wake other people up that's in my house too.
Mm.
So I'm turning the mic volume, the gain up versus turning the gain down and just waiting to record when I have the atmosphere to do it the way I need it to be done. Because a lot of the times I record in the middle of the night because it's quiet in the house and I can really, hone in and lock in and do what I need to do instead of, probably waiting till the daytime.
Yeah, that's where I like to do it too. Recording is in the middle of the night. But you more mindful of your household than mine. Mine just got to deal with it. Mine just got to deal with it. I was trying to create something this morning, and it was just like, well, if y'all hear me, y'all hear me, because this one of them that it ain't quiet. Put it that way. It wasn't a quiet track,
Right.
so
I
it is
think,
what it is.
right. I think too that hinders my performance too in
It
certain
could, for sure.
right, because I got to be a
You
little bit more
self-conscious.
quiet, right? So it's not giving that energy and that power that that
It
particular
could.
song probably need.
Right, that you could do. And like I purposely try to, how can I put it? Like I purposely try to overcome that aspect of like because I know it's probably not the same thing, but for me, it's if I consciously know someone's walking around in the area that I'm like, 'cause I got my office, and then it's not like, like I can still hear those, the footsteps and stuff like that. If I consciously hear people walking around my house, my performance level drops, which is not like, I just got to get over it because I've been trying, but it's like, even though I'm trying, I still notice like I'll go from really being into it, jacked up, rapping, yada, 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 and then I'll hear noise and footsteps. And the next time I hit record, it's slightly less energetic because I'm like, I know that they can't hear the music. I sound crazy as hell. The motherfucker just, yeah. And and like, like, but I have to just get over the fact that one, my family know this what I do. Like they notice what I do. And so, it's some things be internal with us in general when we have home studios, like home office studios and stuff like that, that like we got to kind of let go of that insecurity or that was it performance and anxiety, like when you feel like people are around and stuff like that. I'm still working on that actively because like I don't get that when I have to perform, but it is a little different when I know I got headphones on and I'm shouting to a microphone and can't nobody hear the music. It just, I don't know, it does affect my actual performance.
Right. It's being in creativity mode because like I'll sing a part of a song 100 times, it feel like, because the notes don't be right. You know what I'm saying? And then if you got people that you think hearing you while you trying to work out this creativeness, because I don't write stuff down, I just sing it.
Yeah.
So, and then you think people listening, it's like, dang, I probably sound crazy to them.
Right.
Because I talk to myself, I be yelling at myself.
Yep.
If you was in the room with me, you'd be like, what the hell going on?
Yeah, no, I actually planned on eventually getting that to being brave enough to showcase one of those Thursdays where I go through my full recording process and actually show y'all just how I go through getting through a song. And just which will help me just get over some anxieties of recording while people are like, I got the world able to watch it. So I'm sure that'll help me get over it if this is gonna be all over the internet. So
Right.
but one of these Thursdays will definitely have me just full dive into a mix. I'll probably obviously have it rewritten because I'm not gonna have y'all go through the writing process per se. With me, you would have to join the squad for that. You know what I mean? Like that's some insider content that we just can't drop for free over for everybody. Like our songwriting stuff and stuff like that. Like y'all asking for too much. You're asking for too much. What you eat, Slang?
Not really. It's all in the brain.
What's in the brain? Because you ate. I know you ain't eating no brains.
Yeah, monkey brain.
Yeah, what'd you eat? What did you eat?
Some I forgot the name of it.
It was gold now, but damn, you ain't remember what you ate 30 was an hour ago.
I mean, it wasn't all that important to my stomach, but it was.
Man, that's disappointing when you hungry like that and it just don't hit, bro.
Hey, it ain't disappointing, but you know.
No, it ain't disappoint you, but you can't remember the name. That's disappointing.
Damn.
If I ate something fire just an hour ago, I promise you I'm not gonna forget what I ate. That lets you know that it wasn't fire. You would have remembered if it was fire.
What was it?
Sorry, it'll come back to you. It'll come back to you. I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna eat. Personally, I'm getting to the point where Slang was at before he came back to us, man. Getting hungry. Getting hungry.
That baby about to end this live.
Yeah, we at that 2-hour mark, people. It was, I really like, getting through today. I don't like Pro Tools doing that beeping shit, and then like, yeah, that was crazy. But as far as 2 tracks go, like we gonna hopefully chop this up and get this to out there. There's a lot of people who need to know just the different things you can do. As we went over, like you could duplicate it, you could just apply some type of reduction in the frequency in a certain area to make room for vocals. You could extract it with the stem extractor. What I think Fruity Loops got one, FL Studio has one, BandLab got one. There's multiple AI extractor services that you can get. Some maybe even free that are out there that will try to extract each stem from drums, from bass, from vocals, etc. That's another way to try to go about it. You could use a combination of all of them where you duplicate the original, but then I create the 808 stem and I bring the 808 stem into the session. And now I have a little bit like I have control over this singular 808, and so that I can blend in with the original stereo. So all of the things that we went over tonight actually can be applied together, just depending on what sound you're trying to get to. So I think it was good. Waves Harmony was good. Definitely gonna look more into like using it. And the next time I actually do, I think I'm gonna bring it up and show it. Like, I actually like the sound that I got to earlier, like in that song was real quick. It was like, okay, I like it. When I would bring it out like back and forth, I would distinguishly hear like there was a, like I probably was smoothing it out where it wouldn't come in like as like mute to full gain right away. I would probably blend that area to where it would not be as abrupt. But like I definitely heard, I don't even know if it was the harmonies, but like I definitely heard something was happening in those words that I liked just from throwing that on there real quick. So tonight was a good night. Join the squad. Go to the mixsquad.com. Check out the site.
Yes,
Read
and
about
get
us.
you some Mother's Day merch.
Get you that Mother's Day merch. It should be available on the store. If
Yep.
not now, it
Mhm.
will be very soon, if not now.
Yep, it's on there. And if you're looking for mixing services, as always, hit us up.
Use code MIX50 if you're looking for 50% off of mixing services. Keep in mind, this could be for a gift. This could be for a loved one. This could be for a hobby. This could be to pursue your dreams. It doesn't really matter what your song was made for. We can mix it. And we will put the same amount of effort that you put into creating that piece, into mixing that piece for you. So, like I say, we work more in a collaborative manner to where we understand that sometimes, as especially like artists on our level, when we create something, like I often do this to this day. I'll create music and I'll re-listen to music that I've created, and I will find myself in an emotional rise, whether it's good, bad, or in like good or bad. I'm thinking about my lyrics. I'm thinking about what I'm saying and who it applies to, and I'm feeling something from that. And that's a part of the therapy. And some of us who do music do that for that reason. And we're gonna apply the same amount of like care that you put into it to where you can go back and listen to it and get into that emotional uprising that you feel when you listen to your favorite song that you made about a person that you love and care about, or a person that did you wrong. We're gonna put the same effort that you put into it, into mixing it, to be sure that we have communication like this, where we have a panel discussion over Zoom on nuances of your mix. How do you want it mixed? You want it kind of dry? Do you want it kind of sauced up with a bunch of drops? Or, because to be honest with you, I started calling the mixes that I have that are sauced up, a lot of times I stopped calling them boring mixes, because like, what if the person liked the boring mix? You like, oh, you like the boring mix, like that sound bad. So like the normal mix, right? You got the normal mix, and then you got to give them the sauce mix, man. You got to give them that mix that got a little extra creativity. But we collab on the Zoom to where we discuss the nuances of your particular mix and the things that you want to be highlighted or brought out. Sometimes artists will get on there and say, hey, do your thing. Sometimes artists are very particular about what they want, but that's why we have a collective huddle and a call before we get started on your project, so we could really understand what it is that you're looking for out of the project, which ultimately gives you the best results and allows us to work faster and not second guess the decisions that we make. Because when we're in a creative mode, being an engineer, we start to second guess decisions based off of if we think, oh, maybe this person's not going to like this. But if we've already had these discussions with you, then we probably already are in a freedom, to at liberty to make certain decisions. So that's what I'm gonna start calling it. I'm gonna call it your decision mix. Like this is my decisions that I made, and this is the mix, and this is just the normal mix. Just they ain't got no bells and whistles or whatever. But this is some of decisions I've made and give you that mix. So, like I say, we are literally here for you. Mix 50% off. Go get your mixes at themixsquad.com. Don't forget to join the squad. Don't forget to get your merch. What else is on there? Don't forget to go to YouTube, Mix Squad TV, like, comment, subscribe. You're going to see us come up real soon. We ain't going nowhere. We here taking Thursday back. One Thursday at a time, baby. It's time to get out of here. About to end this live. Anybody got anything else to say to the people before we get up out of this joint?
Join the squad.
Join the squad. Peace.
Did it again, Alec. Give me more. Okay, cash at hand. That's the motto, that's the plan. Got a whole lot of loot. Check my status, that's the brand. Boy, stop playing. Money so long, broke them rubber bands in the jam. I'll be damned if I fuck with Uncle Sam. I be spazzing on the beat. I go thermal on them niggas. I'm absorbing all the heat. Oh, salty ass niggas be thinking that it's sweet. Oh, dusty ass niggas in the presence of the lead. Salute. Yeah, we looking for recruits. Join the squad, get you open, corner 3, 2, 1, shoot. Don't be scared, come prepared, and we keep you in the loop. Get you squared, it's prepared, and we accept you as a troop.